Today, I would like to talk about operating in the creative. The object of all life is development, and everything that lives has an inalienable right to all the development it is capable of obtaining. A human being's right to life means their right to have the free and unrestricted use of all things which may be necessary to their fullest mental, spiritual, and physical purpose, or in other words, their right to wealth. The person who owns all that they want for the living of all the life they are capable of living is wealthy. And no person who has not plenty of wealth can have all they want or need to fulfill their purpose. Even the most ordinary man or woman requires a great amount of wealth in order to live in a manner that even approaches completeness. Every person naturally desires to become all that they are capable of becoming. The purpose of nature is the advancement of and unfolding of life, and every person should have all that they can contribute to the betterment of society and their own lives. Success in life is becoming what you desire to be, and you can become what you want to be only by making use of the resources you're given. To live fully in soul, a person must have love, and love is denied expression by poverty. A person's highest happiness is found in the bestowal of benefits on those they love. Love finds its most natural and spontaneous expression in giving. The person who has nothing to give cannot fill their place as a husband or father or wife or mother. It is in the use, therefore, of material things that a person finds full life for their spirit, soul, body, finances, and relationships. Therefore, it is imperative that a person finds wealth in all of these areas of their life. The ownership of money and property comes as a result of doing things in a certain way, and those who do things in this certain way, whether on purpose or accidentally, gain wealth, while those who do not do things in this certain way, no matter how hard they work or how able they are, remain poor. It is a natural law that like causes always produce like effects, and therefore any man or woman who learns to do things in this certain way will infallibly gain wealth. Getting rich is not a matter of environment, for if it were, all the people in certain neighborhoods would become wealthy. The people of one city would all be rich, while those of other towns would all be poor. Or the inhabitants of one state would roll in wealth, while those in an adjacent state would be in poverty. But everywhere we see rich and poor living side by side in the same environment and often engaged in the same vocations. When two men are in the same locality and in the same business, and one gets rich while the other remains poor, it shows that getting wealthy is not primarily a matter of environment. Some environments may be more favorable than others, but when two men in the same business and in the same neighborhood are in the same business in the same neighborhood, and one gets rich while the other fails, it indicates that getting wealthy is an indication that getting wealth is the result of doing things in a certain way. Neither is doing things in this certain way due solely to a person's talent. For many people who have great talent remain poor, while others who have very little talent get wealthy. Getting rich is not a result of saving or being thrifty. Many very thrifty people are poor, while people who spend freely often get rich. Nor is getting wealthy due to doing things others fail to do. For two men in the same business often do almost the exact same thing, and one gets rich while the other remains poor or becomes bankrupt. If getting wealthy is the result of doing things in a certain way, and if like causes always produce like effects, then any man or woman who can do things in that way can become wealthy, and the whole matter is brought within the domain of an exact science. Remember, as stated before, talented people get wealthy and blockheads get wealthy. Intelligent, brilliant people get wealthy and very stupid people get wealthy. Physically strong people get wealthy and weak and sickly people get wealthy. Now, some degree of ability to think and understand is, of course, essential, but insofar as natural ability is concerned, any person who has enough sense to read and understand words can certainly become wealthy. Getting wealthy involves the necessity of dealing with people and of being where there are people to deal with, and if these people are inclined to deal in the way you want to deal, so much the better. But this is about as far as environment goes when it comes to obtaining wealth. No one is prevented from getting wealthy from lack of capital. It is true that as you get capital, the increase of wealth becomes more easy and rapid, but one who has capital is already wealthy and does not need to consider how to become wealthy. No matter how poor you may be, if you begin to do things in a certain way, you will begin to get wealthy and you will begin to have capital. You may be the poorest man on a continent and be deeply in debt. You may have neither friends, influence, nor resources. But if you can begin to do things in this certain way, you must infallibly begin to gain wealth. If you have no capital, you can get capital. If you are in the wrong business, you can get in the right business. If you are in the wrong location, you can get in the correct location. And you can do so by beginning in your present business, your present location, or your present financial situation. Now, you may think that in order to become wealthy, it depends upon the opportunities that a person has. However, this is not true. If a person has no opportunities, they can change their environment where opportunities exist. At different periods of time, the tide of opportunity sets in different directions, according to the needs of the whole, and the particular stage of social evolution which has been reached. So being at the right place at the right time does play into a person being able to prosper. One of the keys to this is to find the tide that is happening in a particular location and taking advantage of that tide. No one is kept in poverty by a shortness in the supply of riches. There is more than enough for all. There is no such thing as a limited supply of resources. There is no limit to the supply of formless stuff or original substance. The universe is made out of it, but it was not all used in making the universe. The spaces in, through, and between the forms of the visible universe are permeated and filled with the original substance, with the formless stuff, with the raw materials of all things. 10,000 times as much as has been made might still be made, and even then we should not have exhausted the supply of universal raw material. No person is poor because nature is poor, or because there is not enough to go around. Nature is an inexhaustible storehouse of riches. The supply will never run short. Original substance is alive with creative energy and is constantly producing more forms. When the supply of building material is exhausted, more will be produced. When the soil is exhausted, so that food and materials for clothing will no longer grow upon it, it will be renewed, where more soil will be made. When all the gold and silver has been dug from the earth, if a person is still in such a stage of social development that they need gold or silver, more will be produced from the formless. The formless stuff responds to the needs of humankind. It will not let him be without any good thing. The formless stuff is intelligent. It is stuff which thinks. It is alive and is always impelled toward more life. It is the natural and inherent impulse of life to seek to live more. It is the nature of intelligence to enlarge itself, and of consciousness to seek to extend its boundaries and find fuller expression. The universe of forms has been made by formless living substance throwing itself into form in order to express itself more fully. Nature is formed for the advancement of life. Its impelling motive is the increase of life. For this reason, everything which can possibly minister to life is bountifully provided. There can be no lack unless God is to contradict God's self and nullify God's own works. This is the first principle that I will speak about for now. In following videos, I will go deeper into how wealth is created and how no matter what circumstance a person finds themselves in, they can still prosper so that they can live a full life. Please know that this is not a prosperity message. These teachings are on God's principle of creation and creative living. Thank you.